I'm sure you all know many V8 engines, and most of them have some serious displacement, but have you ever thought about the other side, the smallest V8? It is said that the bigger the engine, the beefier it sounds, but you might change your mind when you go through this list of the smallest 8-cylinder car engines ever to leave the factory. Alfa Romeo Montreal. Some speak of the Alfa Romeo Montreal as a foreign muscle car. That's not really true, as it was not affordable by any means, and it definitely can turn. Regardless, its dry-sump crossplane V8 had good power, which it transferred via a ZF gearbox and an LSD to the rear wheels. Daimler SP250. Though Daimler still exists, there are no cars sold under this brand anymore. An open-top sports car named the SP250 was the last Daimler car before the company was sold to Jaguar. It received a small 8-pod unit with a pair of SU carburetors and a 4-speed gearbox with synchromesh on the top 3 gears. Tata 603. Tatra cars and V8s are an inseparable combo. They actually built a couple of them, but the 2.5-liter air-cooled unit was the smallest of them. This engine is mostly known from the T603 model, but it was also featured in the T607 Monopost racing car, where it made up to 200 horsepower. The most remarkable thing about this power plant is its beautiful rough and deep sound. Pegaso Z102. Pegaso was a Spanish company established as a truck vehicle manufacturer. Once they tried to produce a sports car with a V8 engine layout and desmodromic valves. This system uses camshafts not only to open the valves, but via a leverage system also to close it. The Z102 was later produced also with a 2.8 and 3.2 liter engines. Formula 1 V8. Just before the turbocharged V6s came along in the Formula 1 series, these cars also had one of the smallest V8 engines ever put in a four-wheeler. The engine displacement was set to 2.4 liters, and manufacturers got around 330 horsepower per liter out of them. Simca Vedette. As a large saloon, the Simca Vedette was a French car with an American engine. Not completely, but the basis was taken from the 2.2-liter Ford flathead engine. The 136 cubic inch unit was the smallest flathead V8 Ford has ever made, and it did not catch a lot of popularity around the United States, though more than 100,000 examples of the Vedette were produced. Fiat 8V. The only time Fiat has created an 8-cylinder car was in 1952, when they introduced the Fiat 8V. The 2-liter 2-twin-choke Weber carbureted unit was first meant for a luxury sedan, but that never happened. The 8V was no sales success, but until 1959 it won every championship in a GT racing. This engine could be found in the Seata as well. Alfa Romeo 33 Stradale. The 33 Stradale's engine was an automotive gem. It was closely related to the 2.6-liter unit in the Montreal, but unlike that one, it had a flat plane crankshaft and it was tuned much more aggressively. It had a dry sump, 4 chain-driven camshafts, 16 spark plugs and a 10,000 RPM limiter. Lamborghini Urus. The Lambo Urus had 3 engines. The 2.5-liter P250 was the most popular. The 3-liter P300 was the most exciting, but there was also a sub-2-liter unit due to the tax law in Italy, which had only about 180 horsepower, but still had more than decent dynamics. During its 2 years of production, only 66 cars left the factory. Ferrari 208. The Ferrari 208 was created for the same tax reason as the Urus P200. Although it was mainly targeted for the Italian market, it was listed in New Zealand as well. The atmospheric 206 was considered as the slowest Ferrari ever, but later on, some turbo versions emerged. Ferrari 158. The Ferrari 158 is most likely the car with the smallest V8 engine ever. The 1.5 liter was the Formula 1 engine with an oversquared design and an incredible high RPM limiter. Finally, it had 4 camshafts and only 2 valves per cylinder.